Nerd On the Podcast is proudly partnered with APOGEE Electronics and Odyssey Headphones, leaders in the field of audio. No, I'm going to watch that more.
I'm going to. I log it and I save it for nighttime.
What is, everybody? Welcome back to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, and where all levels of nerd are welcome. Today, it's nothing personal. It's just revenge. We celebrate and discuss the 2007 hit anime series, Afro Samurai.
Can you dig it?
I can. I can dig it. It's just revenge. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it right now.
We're doing it live at the moment of recording.
At the moment of recording, and
It's live.
Corey is joining us over the interwebs.
It's space magic.
Wow.
Or Japanese magic.
Yeah.
It's like you're in my head.
Who
Oh, wait,
knows?
I'm wearing headphones.
So let's introduce the rest of the hosts. I am Tom.
Ollie.
Caitlin.
And I am Josh. And Corey's on the interwebs. I already said that, so I'm repeating myself. And this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks like bonus episodes that are not heard by anybody else. You get early access to pretty much all that we do, our videos, our episodes, our merch. It's fun stuff. And you get that Discord that you get access to us, and you get to talk to other fans. It's a good time. That Discord.
No.
You can check out our Patreon, nerdon.io/Patreon. And of course, like we recently told everybody, we recently partnered with APOGEE and Odyssey. These companies are both leaders in the field of audio, and these headphones are ridiculous. They sound amazing.
They're light, they're fluffy,
they're light,
everything
they're
sounds
fluffy.
crisp.
Ollie
and
doesn't
nice.
cry
I
when
have
he wears
sensitive
them.
ears, and
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
Also, the people who work there are super dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody at APOGEE and Odyssey has been incredible. And do
Speaking
remember,
of Apogee,
yes, speaking of APOGEE, remember we do have our very first live show
Oh my God.
coming up March 7th at 8
Remember,
p.m.
the 7th of March.
Yeah, it
He was
doesn't have
really
as,
close.
doesn't have as good of a
We're gonna work on
Almost
that.
right.
guys, show up! It's our live show. It's gonna be fun, exciting. You get to participate, and it's local to only us in LA.
In Santa
Sunny Santa Monica.
Yes, if you'd like to check it out and RSVP, please do nerdon.io/live. Feel free to invite your friends, your family,
Your
but
enemies.
Your date that you may not bring, for future live events because the
Wow.
relationship's short.
Or your spouse,
jeez.
or the people that you care about and want to see a lot of times
So,
after that.
I guess what we're trying to say is bring anybody.
Bring
Or
any.
if you
I
just
wanna
want to
shout out-
tonight.
I want to shout out Tom for putting a positive spin on it's local only to us.
Yeah, it's in California, and if this does great,
that was
then
dope.
we'll come to places close to you.
Yes.
And you could also bring exes that you want to rekindle a relationship and it'd be
Wow.
like some weird
How
cinematic
is it
thing
just
because of
getting weirder
us.
and
So
weirder?
much
The
deep
Nerd
stuff
On
coming
World
out of
Tour
Tom
coming
right
at
now.
you in like 3 years, probably.
Yeah.
We'll do a living room tour.
Yeah.
Hey, that'd be cool.
We can be
Very
in
fun.
your living room. No, let's
That's
let's
a
workshop
thing,
that idea.
just so
Let's
you know.
workshop it.
It is a thing. But yeah, that is the housekeeping. Let us get on with the fighting
Oh.
in the blood.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah.
And the
So-
revenge.
so-
Josh.
what Josh is trying to usher in is the first segment of our typical topical shows. Typical topical.
Yeah, I
Typical
like that.
topical shows is where at the end of the show, since this is one season and then a movie, if we did some of the extra credit, if we want to do a movie episode, we can in the future, but we will kind of talk and banter about that. But this is a one series show. It is
Yeah.
complete. It is done. So that means at the end of it, we're going to rate it, and that means right now we're going to guess that grump.
I'm tired of these motherfucking samurai on this motherfucking afro.
Where's
job,
number
guys.
2? Perfect.
So if you are brand new to Nerd On, welcome. And this is the moment where we're going to go around the horn of the table and guess who's going to have the lowest rating, 0 out of 5. And no matter how high the number is, if it's the lowest in the group, then you are the grump for the week. We encourage everyone at home. And if you are also part of the Nerd On Nation, then you also get a little shout out for being the grumper, the gumper, the Forrest Gumper, the guess that Forrest Gumper,
The grump guesser.
the grump guesser,
A negative
and
Nancy.
yes, and so since I always change it up and I never mess it up, I will go first, and I will guess that Ollie will be the grump for this show.
It's a safe choice, I suppose.
Nice.
From previous,
Yeah.
Ollie?
experiences. I'm gonna go with Josh.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
I feel like that's a mistake,
Mm.
Joshua?
but I'm sticking with it.
I
Who you
think
got?
it's going to be Ollie.
Smart.
Jacques.
I
Kaylin?
think it's gonna be Josh.
Oh,
Oh,
2-2.
Wow.
my goodness, my Guinness.
And Corey.
Oh, man. It's a tough one.
You're
It's a tough one indeed. I will go. Hey, let's mix it up here. Let's go with Kaylin. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my god.
And
Okay.
The guest from the Nerd On Nation is
Ali
Ali.
from the Nerd On Nation.
Nice.
Does that go last?
Nice.
Yeah. It
Let's
does
go last,
mean you go
baby.
last. So it'll go Tom or me first,
Of course.
then Caitlin, Josh, then Ali.
Nice.
All right. So now we move on to the complete spoiler of that, which is going to be our initial reactions and our first impressions if you're across the pond. Or I don't even know why I say that. I just say
I
that
don't
all
know
the
either.
Yeah.
But it sounds
we'll
nice.
accept
You've been
it.
saying it for years, so I'm just gonna
For
let it.
all
Which is-
the
it's
2 years
fine.
we've been doing this same
Yes.
for years. So I'm going to go first then, again.
Do it.
Okay.
I think I watched the movie first. So Afro
Oh.
Samurai Resurrection, and that was with my
You
then-
did some memento type shit. You watched it backwards.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of how anime is. You just get it when you get it, and then you get into it. And if you're investing in time into it, then you start from the beginning. And I think it was because of my roommate at the time, Jarrell, shout out, was watching it, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't wait. I'm ready for this like black anime shit," because he's a black friend. And so he was just like, "I want to see my people," and I was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna watch it." And I was like, "Oh, it's cool." And then I was like, "Oh, hey, that's Samuel Jackson. That's what's up." And I'm pretty sure it was like a rerun on Spike TV. And then later on, I would see like reruns of the actual show, like on Adult Swim or other places. And then I was like, let me give it the full go. And this was like when I was still in college. So when I watched it, I enjoyed it. I thought to me this was like the perfect escalation from watching Samurai Jack and then watching this.
Mm.
A warrior with a single mission, and the art and the story as well as the style and the substance are all one thing. And the creator of it very much has this very strong vision that's uncompromising. And wants to, have this very stylized, almost very cinematic sense of what a simple, very, very, very simple Western story is of revenge. So I
Nice.
walked away watching it for the first time, as well as the time after watching it for this episode. Thoroughly enjoyed, and pleased to, just kind of bask in like a visual aesthetic like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
Next,
I'll go next. I absolutely fucking love this.
Oh no.
whoever voted for Josh, you a dumb son of a bitch.
Well, thanks.
I had some time one day and I was like, okay, well, I've got to watch it. And so I started watching it and I just kept watching it.
Mhm.
And
His pants got tighter.
I
his
don't-
Did you
got
binge it?
I didn't because I had to
work
go
and live,
about my life and do those
Fair.
things, be an adult.
pay bills.
But it's very, very rarely do I have time to watch what we are researching multiple times. And this was one of those things that I was like, I think I want to watch it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I did. And
Nice.
it really, I don't want to get too far into like later points, but I really, really liked it. There's a lot to it that I was like, this is dope.
This is what's up.
Mhm.
This is dope.
Okay, for sure.
And it's Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
So
And Samuel Jackson.
2 times.
yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. It's
2
a lot.
lot of
times
great
Samuel
people.
Jackson.
Next,
I can go.
do it.
So I came into this kind of not knowing what to expect.
Like all anime.
Like all anime. And I mean, like I had more things like going, I generally live under a rock, or
Mhm.
had.
Like all things.
I like to think I'm expanding my horizons.
I'm
now.
glad that you come out on Sundays.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Sunday. I was like, oh, light. And also, I didn't have Cartoon Network, and also, I didn't even like know about this basically until I sat down to watch like episode 1, and like basically I was like immediately in love with it. It was like
I think I
so
fucked up.
fun to watch. And,
What?
like the quality of the animation and of the fight scenes were like that was like
What's the date?
really pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm trying to stay away from the word impressive because I know Tom doesn't like when I use it. It's like
We got to go buy lottery tickets today.
but I was impressed by the fight scenes, and I was like, oh, this is like. But then I realized, okay, well, they have a tighter. There's only 5 episodes, so maybe like they just had more money, more frames to draw, or whatever it was. But maybe just the style. But I really dug it, and Samuel L. Jackson really did bring a really great like flavor to it that I really dug. And I just had a blast. It was super binge for me. I did actually binge like all 5 episodes.
Well, good for you.
Well, what it was like, I had seen the first episode a few weeks ago, and then when I came back to actually watch it, I watched all 5 like in one sitting, and then this weekend to get ready for it, I watched. I didn't have time. I wanted to watch the movie, I didn't have time, so I just watched the last episode again. And I just had a really great time. Like just the music and like music by the RZA, like it's pretty freaking
Wu-Tang
It's
represent.
so well fitting, and like I think it's like it was like the cherry on top for this.
Yeah.
I think was
Yeah.
his music.
Nice.
So yeah, I dug it.
Nice.
Kaylin?
Yeah.
I like this show.
No.
But there are elements in it that I had a hard time, like I had personal baggage with. Anytime that you're like single-mindedly about revenge,
Hell
so to detriment, I kind of start to tune out. So I was having a little bit of difficulty with that, but there's so many elements of the show that I really enjoyed.
That did stick out to me, but I had a different reaction to it, and we'll talk about it.
Oh, all right, all right.
He
Did I
said,
do
"Shut the
it?
fuck up," and we'll talk
No,
about
it's
it.
Did I guess
interesting. That's a
right?
good point. That's a good talking point, though.
That's called a pause, and we'll come back around to it.
Maybe.
Yeah, but yeah. So there were so many elements about it that were like fascinating. Like the
Wait, have you watched
sciencey-
this before?
No, this is my first time.
Goodness, am I schooling you now? Jeez.
What? I mean, come on now. There's lots of things I've seen that you haven't seen. So all right, sir.
Or
Or you win this
Yeah.
round, Tom.
Are we measuring
happy?
something
I know.
here?
Apparently.
Yeah, we're
What's
measuring
happening?
the
Give Tom
length of our
the pat
headbands.
on the back that he wants.
Yeah.
Headbands.
Move on.
Who has the number one headband
Isn't
here?
Tom cool? I
Yeah.
think
So
Tom
cool.
is cool.
There it is.
So cool.
All right.
I can't wait till we get to
Moving
your
on.
most nervous part, qualms, Josh.
But there was like all the elements of like magic and science and old world but modern world. Like so much aesthetic stuff was just great, and so many of the characters were like really interesting. So I liked it.
Nice.
There you
That's
go.
my initial reaction.
Corthaniel?
I love this anime.
Oh, what? Oh.
I first discovered it when I was living on my lonesome in New York, very depressed and very broke. But
Oh.
I found this, and it brought me lots of comfort.
Nice.
And so
That's
I've
why
kind of
you
held
have so
this.
much revenge in your heart.
Yeah, I've held this with me
Oh.
for a very long time.
Nothing
It's something
personal.
I've watched all the way through dozens of times. Not the movie as much. I'll keep my thoughts on that for another episode. But I think, the way they describe it, Caitlin, you said it perfectly. It's described as a future feudal Japan, which I absolutely love the idea of, that there's kind of like elements of, it's almost like a lost in time story.
Yeah.
I think the voice acting is absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, you have a ton of A-listers, not only in the voiceover world, but also you have, movie actors coming in and lending their voice to some of the key characters as well. The music and the story is a beautiful blend. And I think, Tom, I'm going to steal what you said to me the other day, where the style is a lot of the substance, and they knocked it out of the park.
As I continue to wear my number one headband.
Oh my god. All
So,
right.
all right, I'm going to stop quoting Tom from now on.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably for the
but-
best.
Yeah, don't
but,
do that.
But for me, I think the thing about the revenge thing actually lends itself to the storytelling, since the style is the substance. It's an easy way to add a lot of the elements that they wanted to add, such as these really unique enemies and music and visual eye candy. Lends itself well to a simpler story. So for me, this is a home run.
Nice.
All right.
So everyone at home, that gives you an idea of what our
Everybody chose
yeah,
wrong.
I know, right? Of our rankings.
I
are gonna
chose
be.
right, maybe.
Touche.
So we are going to move on to our next few segments, which is going to be the brief synopsis as well as the production. So I'm going to do the brief synopsis, and we're going to try and make it under 5 minutes under the mandate of Josh, or else he kills me for my number one headband because he has a number two headband.
I let you out of your cell for a reason.
Yeah,
so
right.
please prove that I
He's
chose
trying
wisely.
to fight justice right now. So we're gonna. It's all takes place, as we've said, in a feudal, futuristic Japan where the world is run by these headbands. In the world where whoever has the number one headband could only be battled
Challenged by the
challenged
number
by the number two. And it opens up with young Afro, yes, that's his name, who is being protected by his father, who currently wears the number one headband, and is challenged by Justice, voiced by Ron Perlman, who's this gunslinger, and he kills him. And he says, "Whenever you're ready to fight a god, then I'll be ready." And so Afro Samurai sets out on this, journey and mission to fight the number one headband. So he's currently wearing the number two headband. Throughout the 5 episodes, we see that this isn't just like an epic story. This is the tragedy of Afro Samurai, and that his journey has led him down a path where he can't love and he can't have friends, he can't have mentors, because those are people who ultimately won't understand where he comes from. And so he gets trained by Swordmaster. He makes friends with Kuma, aka Gino, and all his childhood friends either succumb to his enemies or become his enemies. And throughout the first few episodes, there's a plot by these brothers, numbers 1 through 7.
The MP7.
And they send out different assassins to kill him and grab the headband. And throughout, we learn a little bit more about Afro Samurai's childhood and why he likes lemonade, who are these certain assailants who are coming after him, and also fighting even versions of himself. He is also accompanied by a character named Ninja, who is also voiced by Samuel Jackson and has, we later on find out, manifested himself into his psyche as well as the physical world when he found out he needed to kill his master in order to get the number 2 headband. Because at a young age, he lost the headband. It ultimately ends with a final showdown against Justice. He finally gets to his mission point, and there's a little bit more of like a ethereal, mystical plot that the idea of when you have all the headbands, you truly become a god, and you can change and rewrite history. And Justice, who has a third arm, which isn't the weird thing, is the fact that he can like regenerate. And after a climactic fight, Afro finally kills him. But then the sad tale of like the story of blood and bloodshed will always continue as long as the headbands exist. And that's where the show ends.
Yeah.
And it continues off with the movie, and the movie kind of then reinforces a cooler, not cooler, like a good step forward in that tragedy.
Maybe we'll do another episode.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that's it. What was that, like 5 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway, as always, nerd on.
So Caitlin, sing us in.
Production is the studio was Gonzo, who's done Witchblade, Samurai 7, and Hellsing. The showrunners, the director was Fuminori Kizaki, who did Street Fighter 4.
That's IV. Yes, that's 4.
Yes, yep. So I don't know why Roman numerals just caught me up for a second.
Doing it.
Bayonetta, Bloody Fate, and X-Men. The producers is Koji Kajita and Taito Okiura, who did Witchblade, Gatekeepers, and Superman of Tokyo. The writers, that's producers as well.
Yes.
Arthur Smith and Eric Calderon, who did Afro Samurai, Linkin Park, Breaking the Habit, Transformers, Combiner Wars, upcoming Magic the Gathering for Corey over there. The writers is Takashi Okazaki, who did Explorer Woman Rei, Seirei Tsukai, Afro Samurai Pilot, and Tomohiro Yamashita, who did Last Exile, Red Garden, The Female Teacher in Black, and Derek Draper and Christine Wu who did Wedding Palace and Yellow Bell. And then
I want to stop real quick because Christine Yu, on the internet, you find it as Chris Yu.
What?
And so like there was a bit of a credit change. I was like, so when you look her up on IMDb, it's Chris Yu. But then if you look up her other credits, it's Christine Yu. So definitely like that's one that tripped me up. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I definitely like to like.
I wonder what the choice was for.
I think either a marriage or just a change in professional nom de guerre. But I was just like, that was interesting, very interesting. Because it made me think I was like, oh, it's a guy, and I was like, oh no, this is a woman. So I was like, oh.
Or maybe it was like a pen name to garner more respect
like
via
kind
emails.
of like a stage name.
Yeah, like a Stan Lee or something like that.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
So going to cast.
Is Samuel L. Jackson from The Incredibles, Boondocks, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Kelly Hu from Phineas and Ferb, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, love that, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Yuri Lowenthal, who's been in everything under the sun, from Naruto, Spider-Man, Ben 10, and Ron Perlman from Teen Titans Adventure Time and Fallout. The release date, it started January 4th in 2007 and went to February 1st, 2007. It was on Adult Swim. First came up on Fuji TV. But there are 5 episodes, 1 season, 26 minutes per episode about, and the budget was under $5 million.
Wow.
Which is a lot. The critic score is 100% and audience score is 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Rotten Tomatoes is 100%.
So it's
You know.
it's doing
so people
it's-
like it.
it's- Oh, okay.
So
You
people
could say it's critically acclaimed.
Wow.
Huh.
and fan beloved.
Yes.
So people kind of like it.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. Has anyone watched the pilot?
No.
The pilot is 3 minutes long, and that's what
Oh,
got
yes.
Samuel Jackson into like wanting to be part of it.
Oh yeah.
And the cool thing is like it's a really good like if it was an anime opening, that would be it. Like because it shows all the
Oh.
characters, all the villains, like a
Oh,
little bit of
yeah.
the story,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like a quick fight between all of them, and you can just hear some like pop,
Sweet music.
some 80s, 90s Japanese pop rap or pop rock or something like that.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Interesting.
We should watch it after this. But
Yeah.
so yeah, now we'll move on to the meat and potatoes
To the
of the
show.
So our favorite parts, favorite characters, and then our qualms and rating.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first with our
I
favorite
do.
part? Go ahead.
Oh.
All
Damn
right.
it.
Jeez, go.
That second and a half delay because the internet fucked me.
Is that a motherfucking RPG? Is that a motherfucking RPG? That made me
Motherfucking
laugh so much. In a backpack? Don't mess with him. It was just, oh my God.
So good.
It made me.
But then what does he do with it? He slices it in half like a gangster. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that scene, like that was my like the very first thing that just made me laugh out loud. I was like,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
So you like Ninja?
Yeah, one might say that I like Ninja Ninja.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
okay.
Wow.
Ollie.
My favorite has to be just his fight against himself.
Oh, against
Like-
the Robo?
Yeah, against the his Robo self. Like it was just really
In the rain,
in the rain.
On a
and they were
bridge.
like they had the
being
same,
reborn.
same skills, and then him having to like remember that he
Oh.
has to like fight from within and not be predictable. Like that was cool. And then
It's the Death Strike.
yeah,
It's just like Legend of Zelda. That's exactly what happens.
yeah. But then like him coming back,
Mm-hmm.
like and looking like he did, and of course you know you got to have
Looking like he did.
It's like it's like your usual phase 2 fight where like he has new moves
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and it was just really fun.
There's lasers.
You might want
and
to play the video
missiles.
game.
I like his arms, retractable arms. I was like-
Kaylin?
I was like,
I don't know why I was so fond of the lemonade spiel of things where it's like everyone's like, this is so disgusting.
Swamp
and he's
water.
like,
Swamp water.
yeah, and it's like his favorite thing ever. I don't know why I just really enjoyed that aspect of
I have some
Samurai that
lemons. We
likes
can make some lemonade.
I
a lemonade.
fucking love lemonade.
I
by
think
the way.
Yeah.
I think
Do
it,
it.
it helps continue the story of him being the gaijin and all that stuff. You
Yeah.
know? For everyone at home that doesn't know what gaijin is, it's like they're just the outsider.
Mhm.
And you know that's a very powerful.
Foreigner.
Yeah, that's a very big, powerful film move, especially to just elaborate on being other. So like liking something that other people don't, and also like how his life is, you know, just limited, but also lived by different rules.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Corey?
yeah.
I have 3 very specific favorite.
So what's your
favorite
first
parts.
one?
My first one is the first fight where the guy shoots and he cuts it in half and it
Oh, shotguns, everybody.
scatter shots into like 6 or 7 other people. My second favorite part is Brother 3 peacefully offering him tea because he doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
He just wants to listen to music and be chill.
Yeah.
And my last is the fight with Gino, the entire thing from start to
Mm.
finish.
Oh yeah.
Never stop.
I think
crying.
Oh.
That was the, especially the last couple times around, but this last time really being critical of it for this episode. I was so emotionally invested in that you don't 100. I didn't at least 100% know who to root for,
Mhm.
and I think that was I really enjoy that kind of conflict in storytelling. It's impressive to me. So that whole fight, I was on the edge of my seat, even though it spans 2 episodes.
yeah, that's one thing. Kind of going back to me wanting to talk about the revenge part of it. Like normally I would have a problem, but I feel like it was such good fuel for the rest of the characters to play
Mhm.
off of that. Like,
Yeah.
because like the show is very self aware that is like an extreme form of revenge, right? It doesn't like
Right.
downplay
Yeah.
it, and so it was really fascinating to watch like how that affected.
Well, like
everybody
to your
around
point,
him.
yeah, I want to talk about like that's one of my favorite aspects is that like Afro is able to find a new family, and like even then, like his mission to find the number 2 headband has never left his mind. So like even
Yeah.
though like he can find friends, he can live life, he can make love to women, he can have fun eating food and whatever the hell it is. But like no matter what, like the end of the day, the mission's always the mission. And
he has a laser
Telling-
focus
and
on
the thing
his
is, like,
mission.
he's not trying
Tell-
to use that against people. Like the thing that's sad is that other people have like told him to try to walk away from that path. But it's just like the way that he lives doesn't. Again, it doesn't abide by like those rules. Like Gino's like biggest like tragedy is the fact he's like, hey, like don't go after the master because like he has number 2, but like you shouldn't go for revenge anymore. And he's like, but that's been my whole mission in life.
Yeah,
like
that's why I live.
That's
and-
why he was at the
Yeah.
dojo.
and
saying like my true father. I was like, oh damn.
And
Right.
and that's a sad thing where it's like those who wear the headband know like it's either kill or be killed. And
Yeah.
like
It's the life they accept.
yeah, and like even then like I forget her name, but like the woman of his past from the first episode knows this too. It's like, oh, of course you're a great samurai nowadays because you've lived. And then like you find out like how much part of his past she was, and like how like even then she knew she was a casualty of the fact that like when push comes to shove, he'll have to break ties and just continue his mission. And that's like the sad thing where it's like if no one really went against what he wanted, like they would all technically be safe. They would
Yeah.
all been fine, but then everyone wanted to have him.
You shouldn't have
live-
raised your sword against him.
Yeah,
you
they
would
all-
have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
if
Like
like
a brother 3.
like yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that's it's interesting thing that like that them wanting to put what they wanted for him into their lives caused them to have their own revenge towards him.
Yeah.
And it's like because you acted out against me because I was acting against you, now I have to kill you. And it's like, well, just fucking leave him alone then.
And that's
Like,
literally
yeah.
like how the show ends.
yeah.
Like, it's
And-
like the guy is now hellbent on revenge on him.
Mhm. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's an interesting. And I really like that because to me that's just kind of how delicate like people's livelihoods are, and then people's like missions in life because everyone is trying to tell someone how to possibly live their life better or
Yeah.
do
Mhm.
something by that. But it's kind of like at the end of the day, you have to kind of live by the beat of your own drum.
Yeah.
So if there's a significant moment that I really, really liked, there's several, but it's actually right after Corey's first part with the scattering of the bullet. And it's the guy's like, what? It's like, he pretty much fucking says, who gives you the right? Blah, blah, like the whole Dark Knight
Kill
shit.
me, all my men.
And he says, like, it's nothing personal, it's revenge. And
Yeah.
like, I really like that. Where it's like, I mean, revenge is 100% personal, but it's like you getting in my way has now made it like, I have to kill you. Where it's like,
Yeah.
he didn't want to. And
Yeah.
like, that's one thing I really like that the movie actually does. They talk about that later where like, there is someone that's like a complete bystander. It's like, look, I'm not trying to fight nobody. He's
Yeah.
like, but if you get in my way, I'll mow you down.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I really respect that.
I
because
literally think that's. Go ahead. Sorry.
I really respect those kind of things. And I try to think that's typically how I live my life. It's like
Yeah.
I don't mean nobody harm, but like if you start getting in the way of what I want, then you now are meaning me harm.
Mm.
It's
like-
it's the reason I like the brother 3 moment so much is like even though he was a part of this thing that was trying to stop him, the moment he says, "Okay, I'm out," Afro's like, "All right, cool."
You
out
walk
of my
right
way
past-
then.
you walk
No
right past
worries.
them.
Bye
yeah.
bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a really beautiful moment to show that he's not just the
Killing
revenge isn't for
people.
anyone else
Nope.
except the one guy.
Another favorite thing that I liked was the usage of Ninja.
Yeah.
And I really liked that, there's two voices of Afro, and Ninja represents the part that like the audience is supposed to understand that like what Afro Samurai is not. And so like Ninja
Yeah, I
is
was
the one
gonna
that's, yeah.
because I was
Go ahead,
that
take
was
my part. Go
literally
ahead.
my next thing that I was gonna say is like I love that it. Yes, you can also see it the yin and the yang, the black and the white hair,
Mhm.
but Ninja is like that other side that it's not that he can't be.
It's the foil.
Yeah, he's the kind of silly one, but he's also the doubt. Like in the moments that he's taking on something where he's like,
Mhm.
"No,
You can't
do-
fight him.
You
Yeah.
can't," and he's
Don't
like,
put
"Shut
that
up."
on.
Yeah.
Don't
And
do that.
He's talking about his other side of the personality, which I think
Yeah.
is
Which just shows that he is like a balanced person, and that like he's not just like consumed by
But,
rage.
but his conviction
But-
has to.
But
There-
at the end of the day, the mission's the mission. But he does
Yeah.
have that. Like he is still like
He's still human.
and- yeah, exactly.
He's still like, I mean, like Ninja's like, hey man, why don't we get some sweet ass like that? Like those are like the real mechanisms that are working in his mind. He's like, hey man, why don't we ever relax? Hey man, you looking funky right now. Hey man, like it's all that shit like everyone works through. But Afro understands that like the mission is paramount, so I have to subdue these
Yeah.
things.
Mhm.
And it's
He's like the physical manifestation of anxiety.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's an interesting like way to like. And I like that the show takes time to do that. And
Mhm.
like with Samurai Jack, it's a little different where like he's very nice and calm and peaceful, but then there's moments of pure rage and violence. But you never get a lot of that side. You get a lot of contrast within the episode, but you don't get them at the same time.
Yeah.
And so like when you see Afro fighting, you see like Ninja like panicking and stuff like that. So it's like those things are like, oh, like this isn't a rubber human being. Like, and that's one thing I actually really love about Afro Samurai is he gets injured a lot. And like even though he can take a getting blasted to the side of the mountain, like he's still bleeding at the end of the day. He's like, oh, that hurt for sure.
Yeah.
But like
I'm laser focused.
Yeah, he's like, I have to win.
Yeah.
And sometimes he loses his will to win. And so that's the thing I love too, where it's like he's not like a typical shonen hero who's like, I'm gonna friendship.
I'm untouchable.
I'm gonna win because the earth is gonna die. It's just like, no, I'm gonna.
That's exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of plots actually.
Yeah, maybe all the hero plots, but like, and so like him, it's more just like, it's more just like I'm, like I have what I'm gonna do, but like even then, like he sees like how much of the destruction and wrath that he's like brought upon the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, is he better than justice at all?
Well,
So-
I really just appreciated that the way they like from a plot standpoint, I really appreciated that was how we got the sort of like balance of ideals versus like some sidekick character that is just
Or an inner monologue.
that is just that. Yeah. And then but then that would also mean that like that Afro is also just like the serious version of himself. And like it made him a much more fleshed out and three-dimensional character while also satisfying like what the plot needed as well.
Also,
And comedy.
it provides
And comedy.
entertainment too.
Right.
One of my favorite parts, and it's more of like an aspect of the show, is really the pretty much everything you hear from the sound effects. I was like, wow, they weren't cheesy punches, they weren't cheesy like sword hits or swipes. Like they sounded like realistic.
Legitimate. Very.
The voice acting, it was I thought amazing, but also the music. I mean, it's just the whole soundscape of the whole soundscape of the entire show, the sound experience. I was like, wow, this is just I really dug it. Like everything, I really could not stop thinking about the sound effects because I really appreciated it so much of like not being cheesy. But yeah,
I mean, in the art too, it's just like this is probably one of the most gorgeous looking animated things that I've ever seen.
Yeah. The animation is really great.
I'm right there with you.
I mean, this is coming from like someone who watches like, a good handful of anime. I fucking love the opening. Because, opening sequences of an anime really kind of tell you like how this anime is going to go. And sometimes they give you like a little red herrings here and there. But like this one was just like very like, it felt very boondocksy. It felt very like, but also like very much of its own style. And like had a little bit of that blaxploitation feel, a little bit of the James Bond feel. And so like capturing that where it's like, okay, this is going to be like a really one of those cool characters that I'm going to fall in. Like there's that level of like, this character does a lot of cool things, but then there's going to be that deeper layer within this character that like he's not only just tortured, but like he comes from a different background than other heroes that I've watched.
Yeah,
It's a great blend of cultures, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
It
a
really
really
worked.
good blend.
Makes me think of a mix between like Outlaw Star and Berserk.
I can see that.
Mm.
Let me see those notes real quick.
yeah.
The director, I think for sure, he was the one that he was like, he really wanted to make something very cinematic. And so when he he created the pilot, like he just made that out there. And then, like I said, like it sparked the interest of a lot of people because they were like, holy crap. And then a lot of like networks wanted to jump on his project, but he wanted to make sure that like it maintained like its style no matter what. Because that's typically like the sad telltale of what happens to a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Is that like they have a great pilot and all of a sudden like, hey, it's great, let's market it, let's like make it like let's have some toys and stuff like that, because in Japan toys is paramount.
Yeah.
Right.
I do like that it's 5 episodes and then a movie. Like the movie kind of serves as a second
Did you watch
season. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not
It's
going
like
to talk
epilogue
specifically about it, but it's like of course I would love more of this, but it's kind of perfect the way that it is.
Yes, because it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where
If
it's
you
like
tack
it had
on
a
more,
purpose.
it's like
It's
you're
not a
trying to
classic.
make a different story
Yeah.
now.
I have more
Right.
revenge.
well, like when everyone home listening, as well as the people here at the table and on the interweb, if you watch the movie, to me, I think it's a perfect like, okay, cool. So what happens after? But also
Yeah.
like here's the other side of the argument that you're having.
Yeah. There's more to this world
Yeah.
and his world.
And it forces the audience as well as the creators to challenge Afro even more, because they pull in some personal strings in there, and like it's really really good. Like I really really like the film, and I think to me that's a perfect ending. But like again, this isn't the movie episode, but like the fact that this is a one season, one and done, it remains a classic for like all time, and so like it's I wouldn't want any more coming from it.
Yeah, it was a nice. Thank you for this.
Yeah,
And
like,
they stayed really
it would
true to
dilute
the manga art too, which is cool.
And
Oh,
am
yeah.
I mistaken in thinking that like there's another Afro Samurai live action coming out?
possibly.
point?
Look, Netflix be doing all the live actions.
I know.
But
That's why I'm like, maybe that is a thing. Or maybe I just
Unconfirmed
made
at
it
this
up.
point. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Interesting.
but I wouldn't hate it.
There is the video game, and the video game does kind of like possibly expand a little bit of like the nature of the world. Like, is Ninja actually a physical manifestation, or is it just a psychological one? Although the movie does a really good job of kind of like reiterating that too. With one line, which really I liked a lot. But anyways,
No spoilers.
any other favorite parts?
I don't know.
I mean, the whole thing.
I don't know why, but like the screaming bloody face before he gets. This is like tied to the lemonade thing, but I don't know why. But I was like, oh, that's great.
Well, you're kind of a strange individual, so
Oh,
it makes
fair.
sense. You like violence.
Ding.
There's something I liked about this too was the amount of blood and gore and the
Yeah.
There was a lot.
and to me
It's not for kids.
well the funny thing is
No.
like I've been very particular and very critical of like when other people use gore and things like that. I think I find it very hokey, and even though it's meant to be, like I think it kind of
It fits in with
this one here. It's like it's showing how gruesome and terrifying and terrible it is. Like
Hyperbolic in a
living in
sense.
the
Yeah.
streets.
But even then, it didn't feel like it was doing the like cut a thing and then psh,
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I don't know how to describe this other than
It, like,
it wasn't
fit.
as much of a fountain as like comically it has been in other anime. It was like
Right.
that's like a fountain of blood that would
Well,
not actually happen, but you did the right amount.
To me, it harkens back to like Samurai 7, which is based off Seven Samurai, which is Akira Kurosawa. And there's a lot of that stuff in Japanese like live action films where it's like there's a lot of those like one move fights, and all of a sudden like some guys just like put on the fountain.
Yeah.
And like to me, like that's become such a staple of it. But then I've seen different Americanized version of those things, and I'm like, I just don't like it. I really just abhor it because I don't think like they're capturing where it's really coming from. If anything, they're altering it for their own vision, which hey, that's up to the artist and
Yeah.
director.
right?
But to me, like this felt so right because like I don't want to be a fucking samurai after this. This
No,
sucks.
no,
Like,
that was
everyone's like,
terrible.
I'm good.
Well, like the thing I appreciated about this show is that it kind of kept the art of it up. It didn't like sacrifice that part of it to show the gore or whatever. Like and like for instance, that final fight, like at the end where he
Justice?
slices him into like a billion pieces. It gives you a wide shot of seeing like, and it's like a silhouette of what happens. But you see it like disintegrate and like swirl around. You're like, that conveyed everything I needed to know.
Yeah.
Like
And-
that.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's freaking
Well,
Crazy.
they did a good job with communicating the world in that way too. Like they weren't being so straightforward. They were giving you kind of like a silhouette of the world.
it's like
so to speak.
you know what happened.
You know what happened. You know where they
Well,
are. You know
at that-
kind of when
yeah,
they
at
are.
that point, you
but
already know.
without shoving it in your
Yeah,
face and
right.
being like,
I mean,
it's the year 24,000.
the first episode gives you everything you really need to know. It's like, hey, look, there's samurai, there's blood, there's this guy named Afro, and also
There's cell phones.
I was gonna say, also there's a cell phone.
When he
flip
pulled out the
phone.
little flip, like,
And you're like, did it have like
Nokia
did it have the little phone accessory
a
too?
charm
The
on
charm
it,
Yeah,
and it
so I
had
was
the
like-
like little anime character
Yeah.
as the background. I was like, for real,
And so like
dude?
I don't know, to me I like this like I can only like I know how big impactful it was around like my social circles when I was watching it. I could only imagine how big it was like to the like arcade crowd in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Like that was like I could only imagine how huge it was, and like people, the fact that people still talk about it nowadays and like know it's a recognizable character, I think is really awesome.
I will also say another show like Neon Genesis where I'm looking behind me because I'm watching at work. Like nobody.
Please don't walk behind me right now.
nobody-
Please
like,
don't walk
my
behind me right
second
now.
graphic sex.
My second time going through, I'm like, fast forward, fast
Was that
forward,
episode
fast
two?
forward, fast forward.
Yeah. But like
What
it
but
served a
Josh-
great purpose to
No,
the
it
story,
was.
which
Yeah,
is
I
nice.
was just the
What- yeah,
experience.
So
of
it was
it.
just refreshing.
You can't fast forward through that. What if you miss something important?
Like
No, I saw it, but my second time through, I was at work and I was like, let's get through. Let's get through.
tapping frantically.
Nobody come in. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see.
I did. I mean, yeah. So in a sense, I did. Actually, I really did enjoy that first moment in the bar where
Yeah.
they're like, who got there's there's all these headbands and blah blah.
I'm gonna kill him.
And then
I'm
Afro
going to
comes
kill
into the
him.
bar, and I was like, it's
You
just totally
caved
fine.
my eyes in.
Lemonade.
It's like, okay.
Lemonade, yeah.
Favorite characters?
Favorite characters? Yeah, let's do it.
Just really quick, like
Besides
like one
Afro?
of my favorite parts is the character design.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I mean,
Mhm.
all of these characters are so like just cool.
They all stand
looking.
out.
Yeah.
So we'll do one. Just do favorite
How
and then
about
second favorite.
Afro or Ninja, and then second?
Oh.
Well, I was gonna say just do your favorite and then your second favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
And it
that.
could be Afro and then second favorite's Ninja. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's mine.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I liked. Dang it! I'm gonna say Ninja.
Is your
but,
number
like,
one?
is my number one.
Mine's a close.
But like if I wanted to pick like a side character, I really dug Gino's story
Mm.
and just
Yeah.
the fuel behind it, and then how it. The movie. We must talk about that someday.
One
We'll
day,
just
not
talk about it
today.
after. We'll talk
not
about it
today.
Maybe
talk
next
about
year.
Maybe next year. Yeah, I like Gino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kaylin?
My favorite might be Afro's dad.
Oh,
Oh damn.
Dad for a Samurai.
Dad Fro. Dad
There you go.
Dad Fro
Rokutaro, I think his name is.
Dad, bro,
Um,
samurai.
And then I think Gino's my second.
Corey?
Just, yeah.
I'm gonna put Afro and Ninja aside because too good.
Obviously.
And give a shout out to Gino for sure. Like Josh nailed it. Like I was super emotionally invested in that character.
You almost start going.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm
And-
gonna say
You
this.
almost or you do.
I'm gonna say this. Yuri Lowenthal is like, to me, if he voices like great tragedy. His he has such a good like sad, angry yell that like, oh, you hurt when he like you hear him say like how sad and how terrible his life has been, and totally like, you were my friend. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, inspirement.
Anyway, my other character is Brother 3.
Okay.
I was
Nice.
good.
With the
Yeah,
headphones.
Brother
Why
3
is
was
he old, white, and chill?
White guy with,
With a beard?
He's
And
the
headphones?
chillest of all of them because even when they're plotting, he's kind of just always in the background, just
Like
like
listening to
grooving out
music.
to his headphones, and
Oh,
then doesn't want to
yeah.
fight.
Plan.
He's like when Afro shows up, he's like, "Look, this wasn't that important to me. Here's some tea. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience."
Yeah.
Can't wait for you to watch the
Um,
movie.
I wonder if he's using Odyssey headphones.
I've watched the movie, Tom.
subtle
Anyway.
plug.
I've watched the movie.
Hashtag ad.
But yeah, 3.
Okay.
Nice.
Not using Afro or Ninja. And it wouldn't be Ninja. I like Afro more than Ninja. But I'd probably say Justice. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
Ron Perlman,
Yeah,
baby.
just
Like-
was fun.
there's something, very like, he does the Sephiroth-y fucking end villainy kind of thing, but he does that existential conversation about like, this is the life, and like it's blood in, blood out, and like
You're gonna hate me forever.
yeah, it's to me, it's one of those like, he is the true like future of the world, where it's like there is nothing but like just vengeance, and the cycle of vengeance will always continue, and like I'm like Afro is going to be someone else's justice, and someday, and like to me, like this was like the cool story that Tarantino wanted to do with Kill Bill after the fact, when like when she kills Vivica Fox's daughter, or kills Vivica Fox, and then tells her to come after me when you can. It's like, I want to see that, but
I
this is
wanna see
now
that,
we get it
please.
with this. So like
Yeah.
that was and then also like great to me, cool design, like the only one in the entire world that's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is samurais or robots or like just lechy dudes or like weird robot monster MODOK things.
Some of them had some guns, but
Um,
he's the only one who has the
like a-
revolvers.
yeah.
And a third arm.
And then Gino. Gino's great.
Yeah.
But also I really like Swordmaster. I
Yeah.
really like Swordmaster.
That guy's got guns. And
There's a lot
grenades
of
and
good
shit.
characters, Tom.
Yeah. So yeah, those are me.
Nice.
Moving on to
Qualmies?
Qualms.
Clammies.
I'm gonna get mine out of the way.
Okay.
All right, do it up.
I have none.
Okay.
I don't have any.
I watched it and I was like, I got nothing.
Right there with you.
Mhm.
Well,
I got
I
nothing.
don't. I wouldn't change a damn thing about
All
the
right,
show.
Ollie,
In
let's
fact, I would watch it again
Huh?
and again
again.
and again.
Wow.
Except that one part during work.
No, I'm gonna watch that more. No,
During
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to-
Gosh.
I log it and I
Only
save it for
watch that.
nighttime.
I'm only gonna
All
watch.
right,
He's
Ollie.
turning red very quickly.
Validate my vote, Ollie.
Well, before I ask my question, before I present any qualms, What was up with the cutlet thing? Chicken cutlet thing. Why was that like a weird choice for him?
I
as a last
actually
meal?
don't know either.
Okay.
Just because anything you could have, and you went with the fucking thing that everything tastes like. Everything tastes like chicken.
Fair enough.
I
Okay.
guess.
Everyone's going off and like dreaming about what they would eat, and it's all this indulgent, rich stuff. And he's like, chicken cutlet.
I guess it's like the chicken nugget of,
And you're like,
of like options. It's like
are
if
you
you could have
kidding
a
me?
last meal and they're like, I want lobster and butter, and he's like, I want chicken nuggets. Like,
Yeah.
Got it.
That sounds like a legitimate like.
I'll have toast.
Wait a minute, Ali, what's your qualm? Chicken. What's for dinner?
I thought it maybe was another like bad translation to situation where like they
something
didn't-
you were not catching through the
like they could have like when they were
No, I just
localizing
think
it,
he's
they could have picked
fucking
something different and they didn't.
White
Right,
bread
right,
is
right.
hell.
Or
Yeah.
or that he grew up from shit and like fucking
Chicken's pretty awesome.
simple pleasures is like
Yeah.
paramount for him. Like
Right.
they're
Yeah.
luxuries to him. Like them dreaming about lobsters is like, why concern myself with that when I can just have a normal meal?
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
So none then.
That was so much buildup.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
All
much
the respect, dude.
We're gonna be like a really deep discussion.
You like
Chicken.
really
Respect.
hiked it up, and you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit it," and then you just watched it fall
Yeah.
to the ground.
And I think the
Respect.
chicken nuggets
I respect
was the
you
way
so much for
was,
that, Ali.
yes.
I like that chicken nuggets
I'm
went.
growing.
I understand.
Tori.
So Caitlin,
I-
let's hear this vengeance BS. I'm kidding.
Wow.
Wow.
No, the revenge thing was really difficult for me to get over because there were just so many chances for. I think I get really bothered
But vengeance.
by things that like you have the opportunity to grow or change or adapt, or like there are so many ways that could have maneuvered around it, and it was just that mow down like. We can't change. We can't adapt. We have to go this way. This is the
Well,
only
you
way.
have your father
There's
killed
no
in front
other-
of your eyes when you're like 4.
Right. Okay. But like
You
That,
turned
that
into
changes
Batman.
you.
But even like the sword master was kind of egging him on. Like he waited until after this massive bloodbath to be like, "Hey, you're probably experiencing some like pretty severe PTSD. Do you want to kill me for revenge, or do you want to like peacefully deal with this?" And he's like,
Revenge.
What I got
Revenge.
from that moment is that master's he got stabbed 1,000 times. That
Right.
dude's gonna die anyway. So he's like, may as well. You can't get the headband without really killing him. So he's like, may as well give it to him now.
and
I'm
"No,
gonna
you
die.
can pass it off.
and
Like
That's
you
true.
can hand it
Well,
to him."
and also-
so that was one
to-
of the things that I was like,
But he needs
that-
a warrior's death.
But he's gonna die anyway,
To me,
yeah.
that was the final lesson the swordmaster had to give him. Was that like
Mhm.
after you see your friends die, you see all the bloodshed that this headband has caused.
Do you still
like,
want it?
do you still want this? And this is like the solidification. It's like, yeah, I choose to go down this route. And
I guess it's one of those, and like I said earlier, like this is a personal baggage thing of just like there were so many other ways, and I get that it doesn't further the story, and that's what this story is, so that's fine. It was just a personal like there were so many points where you didn't have to go the revenge route, but you did
Sure.
anyway.
Well, especially later on, there was some points with Gino and stuff like that. But then you're like, well, then the thousands of people who died were for nothing. Is that Is that where we're
exactly.
at then?
So that's what I mean
No.
of like I know it's personal baggage because
Yeah.
this is a story about revenge.
Well, it's also like
But
it's
it's-
also like his character flaw.
yeah, I was gonna say
Right.
like I would say none of the characters in here are typically anyone you want to be. And this is again, I say this is the tragedy of Afro
Except Ninja.
Samurai. And like this is like the sad
Except
part.
Ninja.
And that's the sad thing about the show. It's more like these are people who are kind of victim to circumstance and the way that the world works, and everyone has to choose the way that they're going to live, even if it's not the best way going about it. Like I don't want to be Afro Samurai, but I think
No.
he's the fucking dopest character in the show. But like, yeah, it's a sad like he chose vengeance. Like he could have been like, yeah, my dad died, and I just chose to live a happy life.
Right.
But like when you're exposed to that at such a young age, like that becomes you.
yeah.
And like even at a young age, his dad's head was stolen from him.
right.
And so it's like it's hard to me to think like you had other options, but also those options were taken away from you.
Right.
Like, and maybe he would not have if like the head had been not stolen from him. Like he wasn't wearing the headband; he just had the headband on the dad's head. And so like to me, it's yeah, it's I get it what you're talking about, where it's like there are so many options of redemption
So myopic.
for the characters, but then
Yeah.
a
but
lot
that's
of them
the tragedy.
yeah, a lot of them they don't see past it, and like a lot of people do become people based around trauma, and,
Right.
And that's I
Like
think
the
that's
trauma
the
is fun.
telltale.
And that's like I think because this is the same problem I had with
It's sad. It's
Cowboy Bebop.
Mhm.
Right. I just that's why I say it's baggage. Like I know that I just have with this specific type
I know
of
what it
story, it really bothers me.
I think you're just really jealous that you haven't finished out your revenge arc.
You're right. There's not been enough bloodshed.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You know,
Yeah,
my-
I can see it like to that because you have a second one.
Yeah.
Like if this was a longer series, like if there was to be a silver lining to them putting more episodes, I think it would be like them maybe exploring that topic a bit more
Right.
and like being like, is this really what you want? And kind of like coming at it from different facets and different
it
perspectives.
was-
But again,
I
like,
know that's not
it
the
would've-
story to be
right.
told here, so that's why it's like it's not like
Next
it's
time.
a real
Notice I said
flaw.
the
silver
Afro
lining
Samurai movie.
because it is a bad idea to make it longer. That's why I said silver lining. Right
Well,
from
no,
the
I
beginning.
just said watch the movie.
or watch
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
Because I would say this, like, my question is, let's say he does find a choice, like, I'm going to go for peace, then what happens to the show?
Right. And again,
Mhm.
I already said,
Yeah.
I get it. This story
Is this personal baggage?
No, by the end of the
it
series,
might
it comes
be,
back. to the
Josh.
What's your second
it
qualm?
could potentially be. My second qualm
What
is
if
that,
Iron Man decided to go for peace? He's still going to have to build a new suit. no matter
Okay,
and my
okay, okay.
second qualm is that the ladies just felt so useless in this. They were just like, it was very James Bond, useless, hot women everywhere.
yeah.
Like, there were, what, 3 women in this, aside from the grandma who gave lemonade? So there was like,
In the little girl.
She reads
yeah,
Four.
which later turned
3.
into his like fuck buddy. So,
what. Jesus.
well, what? That's what it was.
Maybe,
for like a
maybe,
day.
Not wrong.
maybe they loved each other.
Maybe they did, but she was like, "Oh, your dick gave me salvation, so destroy the chip." Like, that's what it felt like her character arc was.
I can't wait to have my own.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
Wow. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's precisely how that went down.
It is James Bondy.
It's super James Bondy.
But
so
it's also
that,
how it's a very cliche thing.
I
though.
know,
Yeah.
and it
And
like
it goes the other way too. a lot.
yeah, but that was like a hang up for me of like, couldn't there just be one cool chick who just is badass on her own? Like, I don't care if she even died to Afro. Like, can she just be cool and legit and
Yeah.
not
Watch.
Not just naked. Not just naked.
not just sneaky?
Yeah, 13. I mean, to be
the
fair though,
bartender-
13. It was 13 years ago, almost
True.
15.
No, I know, and I give it that credibility, but at the same time, that's still a hang up for me to watch
It's
it.
pretty
For sure.
amazing that how much media has changed.
Oh,
in
so much in the last.
13.
Well, I would say this:
So much.
how much media has changed, but there still hasn't been a lot of like male African or black lead anime stuff.
Right.
And that's why
Yeah.
to me, I
To
give
pick
it a
your
little
poison
bit,
kinda thing.
I give it a little bit of grace because like this is their first black James Bond for anime, where like how many white ones there are.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
like,
no. And again, I get it, but it's still a qualm.
Look, I just
So
don't want
that's
Snoop
all.
Dogg coming after me. Okay, that's all I want. That's all I'm saying.
Fair.
Tom?
For me, I think the only qualm, and this is like if I'm doing a little reach around, in the back of the car.
So then, what is it?
it would be just like I think I could use a little bit more interaction of Afro between other characters.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh
that's
yeah.
it. That's it. Really, it's like because I get him and I get Ninja, but I want to get him with more people. But the movie fixes that, so I'm cool with that.
Spoilers.
So that's it for me.
All
Stop
right.
referencing the movie.
Cool.
So the movie. So now go on to the final segment, which is our
Yeah.
rating.
Rating.
Tom.
Corey, you first.
No, I already said it.
Okay. I give it a 4.7.
Nice.
Oh.
4.7.
Okay.
4.7 for Tom.
I really like it. I really enjoy it. And I've said everything that I said.
You did.
Yes, you did.
I'm
You
next.
did.
Somehow, and you have nothing else to say for once.
Corey?
That's a 5 for me.
Oh,
This
Yeah.
is
Oh wow.
this
I'm
is
shocked.
for those of you who don't know, I suggested this. So but yeah, again, I also I understand that I boost the score of it. If I hadn't found it when I found it and the state I was in when I did,
Mhm.
I probably wouldn't give it. I'd probably be in the 4.7 range, but it definitely resonated with me at a time that I needed it to.
Yeah. Which means
so
that
it's a 5.
To its credit, that means that it was successful in that way.
Yeah.
In that
Exactly.
regard.
Nice. Who is next?
Next would be Kaylin.
4.7.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just it was the qualms that I had are just like kind of either personal qualms or like period qualms, like period of time.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Nice.
it's still good. Still
Nice.
watch
4.7,
again.
4.7, and a 5.
Who's next?
Josh is next.
5.
Fine.
There we go.
5.
So shocked.
I wouldn't change a
Whoever
single
voted
thing.
for Josh.
And because I'd watch it again and again, that shows me something.
Who also
Yeah.
voted for Ali is also an idiot too.
Ali.
Well, I think
Wow. All right, Tom.
we're making history here.
Yep.
3-way tie for Grump, 4.7.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wait, so I was right and I was
Ish.
wrong
Yeah.
At the same
And I was right and I was wrong.
time.
at the same time.
So that also means that Dana
spoiled.
P was also right and wrong. Charlotte was right
Wow.
and wrong. Andy Newton was right and wrong. And Jared was right and
who
wrong.
voted for
Proud of
me?
you guys.
Who voted for
Oh yeah, then that also means Brock P was right and wrong. And Raphael was right and or wrong.
me? Raph thought I was going to be the Grump.
Congratulations
Yeah, I
to
mean,
everybody.
no,
in the Nerd
that's
Nation
Josh.
for being right.
Oh no, never mind. Raph isn't there. Sorry,
Okay.
Oh,
oh,
he
sorry,
voted
Raph.
for he voted for Josh.
Next week.
No offense.
Next
we
week.
still like you. Don't worry.
You're gonna get it.
Yeah,
Congrats
Brock
to
and
those
Raphael.
guess that Grumper guesser Forrest Gumpers.
Yeah, we need to work
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, we'll find a name
We'll
for
get back
it.
to the drawing board.
So
Tell
shout
us
out
what
to
you think it should be
shout
called.
out to Dana, Charlotte, Andy, and Jared all.
Nice.
Nee-nee-nee-nee.
That is it. We did it. I feel complete.
Collected all the headbands.
I'm still
did.
completing.
Oh. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for
Completing
hanging
takes a
out,
long time.
listening to us.
You know what I
Let
mean?
us know what you thought of Afro
fingers.
Samurai
Stop that.
if you have seen it. Let us know who you thought the Grump was. Please reach out to any of our social media. You can message us, you can comment, all that good stuff.
Leave us some reviews
Yeah.
over on the Apple Podcasts or basically anywhere. It
Yeah,
gives
anywhere
us
you
the
listen.
warm, fuzzy feels.
Even on Facebook. Even Facebook has a review thing. You
Might
can
even
stop in there.
make us forget about revenge for like a second.
No.
And come
No.
to our show.
Yes,
Come to our
we do have our
show.
first live show. Like we said, it will be in Santa Monica at APOGEE Studio. Very, very excited.
Remember,
Nope.
the 7th of March.
Nope.
We'll
He's
work on that
trying
one.
so
the,
hard.
the 7th after February.
No, all right. Anyway,
but-
come to the live show on March 7th.
Thank you.
Why
Santa
should be
Monica.
part of it? It's history for us.
Yes, check out our website, nerdon.tv. Has all the information there. But yeah, that's it. There isn't any more. We love you. You know the drill. As always.
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.